Welcome everyone to this extraordinary meeting of Council on the 7th of November. The Council meeting is scheduled to commence at 3:30, but firstly we have the public forum, and one person is registered to speak, Miss Kerry Douglas, in relation to item 6.2, Wingecarribee Women's Writers, the Charlotte Project. I'd like to come forward. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I represent Wingecarribee Women Writers and our project seeking council approval to place a bronze statue of Charlotte Atkinson in the park at Berrima. Our sculptor Julie Riley is here today with me as well. As you all know, Charlotte was a remarkable woman. She was the country's first published children's author and a trailblazer for both the education of women and for their legal rights. Our project is well informed by her descendants, Kate Forsyth and Belinda Murrell, and their book, Searching for Charlotte. We have given a great deal of thought, time, research, and consideration to how and where to commemorate Charlotte, what form a monument should take, and where best to place it to achieve maximum visibility, awareness, education, and public commemoration. Berrima is a Georgian village, and one of the key traditions of that time was to erect statues in parks and public places to commemorate important figures. A bronze sculpture is appropriate and sympathetic to this heritage, and it's a long-lasting and beautiful form. It should be enjoyed by the maximum number of people in a public place. The park is the perfect location. The Atkinson connection to Berrima is indisputable. James Atkinson was the local magistrate. He owned the large Albury estate, which at the time had land bordering on the village. He also owned Lot 1 on what is now the corner of Bryan and Jellicoe Streets. Charlotte herself and her family would have frequented the area. The statue depicts Charlotte reading to her children, who are represented by quite small sandstone blocks. Its placement near the children's playground is very fitting and will promote interaction and learning. On a low sandstone base with an overall height of just 140 centimetres, so 1.4 metres, it will be lower than the eye height of most people, and it won't intrude on any views as identified in the Berrima Marketplace strategy. As you know, large numbers of people visit the park: families, tourists, school groups, and car enthusiasts. The Charlotte statue will be a visual representation of the area's history and its heritage. It will promote awareness and encourage engagement with the nearby museum. The plaque will give details of Charlotte, and the QR code will lead to an informative website. All these details are laid out in our Heritage Impact Statement, and I trust Council accepts the statement and the reputation and credentials of the author. Interestingly, when James Atkinson died in 1834, two local landowners started a campaign to erect a statue commemorating him. They collected about £100, which I looked up is about $15,000 in today's value. It didn't come to fruition, and we don't really know why, but it would not have occurred to any of them at that time to commemorate a non-royal woman. Even now, in the 21st century, only about 4% of statues in this country represent women. Our project is part of a global movement to redress this imbalance. As the organisation A Monument of One's Own says, we need monuments to women's courage, vision, tenacity, obstinacy, and resolve, qualities that have without doubt benefited our nation. Regarding criticism that the statue represents a white colonial privilege instead of someone from our First Nations peoples, firstly, this description does not equate with what Charlotte endured. The financial, social, and legal discrimination she was subjected to simply because she was a woman, and also the domestic violence. In terms of First Nations peoples, it's not an either-or situation. Without question, we should celebrate both non-Indigenous and Indigenous women and their stories. We can and should do both. I also want to address reference to statuary in the park being rejected before. I understand this relates to aspects of the design of the playground and not to any previous proposal for a commemorative statue. As you know, we have raised funds for the Charlotte statue to be placed in the park through overwhelming public support and generosity. The community engagement and consultation process has been going on since October last year, so more than 12 months. We know the majority of the local community is behind this. History and our heritage is a living and evolving thing, and the park has changed and been added to over time. It was originally an open paddock where cattle was bought and sold. Over the years, there were trees and shrubs added, including the Henry Parkes oak in 1890. From the 1900s, it was a place for cricket and tennis and other recreational and social pursuits. The War Memorial was added, later the amenities block, the children's playground, the Bulls Court and shed, barbecues, table seats and disabled access. When the War Memorial Garden and cenotaph opened in the park in May 1953, built by local ex-servicemen, it was formally handed over to the people of Berrima in a special ceremony. At that time, Mr. Blake Pelly, MLA, acknowledged history is not static. He made the connection between the longer-term past history of the village and the more recent history of the World Wars. He said at the time, history has been made again today. That's what we hope to be doing on December the 9th, when we add to the park's visual and living history with the beautiful statue of Charlotte Atkinson, a lasting gift to the Shire Council and the people of Berrima and the Southern Highlands. Thank you.
Thanks for that. I've got no questions. We will now start the council meeting at 3:30, so just have to hang around for a while. Sorry about that.